Welcome back to 10 by 10. Are you looking to buy or sell a home in 2020? Well, we cover the top 10 topics in 10 weeks. I'm Kevin Marley.
And I'm Stuart Rose.
This week we're talking about the emotional impact of buying or selling a home. Now, buying or selling a home, it's an emotional roller coaster. It's full of anxiety. This is potentially the largest transaction you're going to make in your life. It's nothing like HGTV, although HGTV, if you're watching, we would gladly do a show with you guys.
Yeah, we probably would.
But in all seriousness, there's a lot of hurdles to cover, and it's a very scary process from the start to the finish. So Stu, how does those first steps affect you emotionally?
I think the first steps for people, really, it's coming to terms with the fact that you are actually going to do this. A lot of people will look at houses, look at options, even start to cost things out. But the first time you actually pick up the phone and you speak to your realtor or you speak to your mortgage agent, you're actually now involving other people in that process, and it starts to make it real. Really, the biggest emotion for people is around doubt, concern that you've done the wrong thing. So at the start of the process, you've still got a lot of the decisions ahead of you, so that doesn't really kick in so much. When you start to go through the process of listing your house, starting to perhaps make improvements in order to increase the sale price, you start to get down to those really key decisions. Do I list first and then buy? Do I get the place that I want to move into first and then put my house on the market? You're starting to get into the areas which really can make you feel that self-doubt because you're not sure if what you're doing is right. And the truth is, and both Kevin and I know this from our own experiences as well as our experiences with clients, you never do know whether those decisions were the right ones until well after the whole experience is finished. And that uncertainty can be tough to live with. So Kevin, you're at the point where you are ready to put your house up for sale, you are ready to buy a new place, you have all of that arranged. What happens after that?
2 words, Stu: information overload. At this point in time, you're going to be receiving so much information from a variety of sources that you're going to be going crazy trying to parse through it. You're going to have that bubble bursting experience where the mortgage isn't quite what you want, and therefore your affordability isn't quite what you want. You're going to be looking at homes in areas that are brand new to you and scary, and you're going to be learning about these areas and the different school systems and the different activities involved there. You're going to be walking around these areas just to try to get a feel for it and say, can I see myself living here? The style of house you've got to choose. There's so many choices on the table here. And what ends up happening is people get afraid and they kind of go into a shell and they don't make any decisions. And then later on comes the regret. They'll start thinking, oh man, I've missed that perfect opportunity. I should have at least tried to go in on it, or at least gone to see a house that I wasn't sure about, because now it's sold and I'm not allowed to go in and see it. And what am I going to do now? So there's a lot of things going on here, and this is where realtors can be a big help, because they're going to do a lot of that legwork for you. If you have any questions about those areas, if you have any questions about the style of house or how to maintain certain things on your property, that's what a realtor is there to do, is to help you sort through that stuff and get to what you want to live in, where you want to be, and the style you want to live in. As Stu talked about in previous episodes, different people are looking for different styles of living, and different areas cater to those types of people. So like if you're a senior, you're going to want to go to a place that has a lot of those senior-friendly environments that they can get to easily, whereas if you are a younger couple or a younger single person, you might want to be going downtown into more of a activity-based living environment. So with all that said, Stu, once you've got it signed and you've got the contract, you got to be free and clear, right?
Unfortunately not. So if you're at the point where you've exchanged contracts, the nice thing is you at least know exactly what's happening, but you do still have sort of the worry and the stress part of, I've actually got to move now. There's a lot of things that you can kind of push off and say that's a future me problem, but as soon as the ink is on the paper, you've now got deadlines you've got to work to and a whole host of other things that open up. The problem that Kevin and I have filming this stuff, and this one particular episode is probably the best example of this, is people don't talk about emotional impact anywhere near as much as they should. Realtors run scared of talking about this with people because they think it's going to put them off buying or selling, and ultimately that's how we make our living. And the thing that really helps is actually having someone that's been through that process, has helped other people through that process, saying to you, look, you're going to feel these things. You are going to feel an element of worry and uncertainty. When you have your sale, you're going to feel a little overwhelmed with everything that you've got to do. There are bills that do keep mounting up. It's one of the reasons why we talked about finance, the very first episode of this. It's why we've gone into detail and talked about closing costs, making sure you actually have an accurate idea of this. So I understand why a lot of people don't want to go through what the emotional roller coaster of buying and selling a house is. But as realtors, this is partially why we got into this business, is to be able to help people through this, because we can't stop those highs and lows happening. We can't take away the stress of making those decisions, but we can talk to you honestly well before you're going to go through this and say, look, you need to prepare yourself for this. You need to be talking with any other people that are involved in the sale with you. You need to understand that it's normal to feel this way, so that when you do get to this point, you're at least able to think back to the conversation you might have had with Kevin or with I, and go, okay, actually I don't need to panic about this. Although it's not the most pleasant experience to have all this worry, I do know that it's something that everyone goes through, and I do know that it's something that I will go through and get out the other side of. As realtors, we do not disappear when you put ink on that paper. We are still available to help. We will still do things that will, help that move be as smooth as possible. And that's one of the commitments we make to you when you start working with us. So, we would love to have done a nice fancy finish to this, which was polished, but we really can't. It is a very honest and emotional thing. And all we really, if the one thing you take away from this episode is that this experience is something that everyone goes through, it will have been well worth our time in filming it.
That's right. Yeah, like Stu said, we both got into this to help people through potentially the scariest transaction in their life and to help shape the communities that we live in. We don't want to run into someone that we've worked with down the road in the grocery store and have them feeling lots of regret because they didn't fully understand the process or what they were getting into. We want to make sure everyone is fully informed so that they can make the best decision for themselves as possible. And I think talking about it openly and upfront is very important for that, so that it's not a surprise when you get to this stage, because this is so far into it that you almost feel stuck. And so I think it's just, if we can help some people understand that side of things before they get here, it can go a long way to promoting a bit more positive energy towards this situation that people find themselves in. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Next week we're talking about.
I think we're on renovations.
That's right.
For before sale, so we're probably going to go into a bit more detail than we have in other episodes. But as we say, this one is a little bit different. So please just try and take that message in. And whoever you pick to represent you in a buy or a sell, please just make sure they're also trying to look out for your emotions as well.
Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.
Take care, everyone.